Have you ever just hit a wall with the default settings in your Phprunner app? You know, you're building something and you think, man, if I could just inject my own little piece of logic right here, it would be perfect. Well, what if I told you there's a secret toolkit for that? Today, we are unlocking that exact toolkit. We're going to dive deep into the secret hooks that can give your app some serious superpowers: global events.
All right, so here's the game plan. First, we're going to get on the same page about what global events actually are. Then we'll listen to the app's heartbeat, the page lifecycle. After that, we'll get into mastering the user journey, login, registration, all that good stuff. And finally, we'll look at some really advanced moves for tweaking your UI and audit logs.
So let's start at the beginning. We need to really pin down what we're talking about when we say global events. What is this foundational idea?
Okay, think of them like this. They're like these little programmable sensors or triggers that are baked right into the DNA of your application. They're always listening for specific moments, like a user logging in or a page starting to load. And when that exact moment happens, bam, they fire off, giving you a perfect window to run your own custom code.
And really, that's the whole point. This is what lets you break free from the standard, out-of-the-box stuff. Global events are literally the toolkit you use to build those really cool custom features that make an application truly yours.
All right, let's build on that. We're going to start with the events that are basically the fundamental rhythm of your entire application. I mean, every single time a page loads, there's this predictable sequence of events that fires, and understanding this flow is absolutely key.
And this right here, this is the heartbeat of every single page load. It never changes. It always kicks off with AfterAppInit, then moves to before process, then before show, and finally, once everything's visible in the browser, JS on load gets its turn.
Now, each of these steps is a unique opportunity. AfterAppInit is your absolute first chance to do something, perfect for setting up global settings or maybe even switching database connections on the fly. Then before process is your chance to jump in and maybe redirect a user if they shouldn't be there. Before show is your last chance to mess with stuff on the server before it gets sent out. And finally, JS on load, well, that's for all your client-side JavaScript magic, after the page has already shown up.
With that foundation in place, let's get to the really fun part. We're going to see how these events give you complete and total control over the most critical parts of your app: how users log in, how they sign up, and how they manage their accounts.
Now, to really get this, you have to understand this one powerful pattern that you're going to see over and over: the before versus after events. Just think of it like this. Before events are like the gatekeepers. They're proactive, they check things, they validate. After events, they're the reactors. They spring into action after something has already happened successfully.
Let's see this pattern in action with the login process. The before login event is basically your bouncer at the club door. It fires before Phprunner even bothers to check the password, letting you run your own security checks. If your code says nope, the login just stops, right there. But once the user is in, after successful login rolls out the welcome mat. It can redirect them, log their activity, whatever you need.
And guess what? We see the exact same powerful pattern with user registration. Before register is your chance to validate everything before it even touches your database. Maybe you need to ping an external API to see if an email is valid. Then, once the user is created, after successful registration, can fire off a welcome email or set up a new workspace for them. See? Gatekeeper, then reactor. This pattern is so useful, it applies all over the place, even for managing passwords. You can enforce your own complex password rules in before change password, and then, once it's successful, you can send out a notification email in after change password. It gives you that fine-grained control at every single step.
Okay, now it's time to pull out the real power tools. Let's look at how events let you go way beyond just managing data and start customizing your app's user interface and its core features with some serious precision.
So, have you ever run into this? The standard menu builder is great, but you need something more. You need a menu that actually changes depending on who the user is, or what their role is, or maybe what subscription level they have. How do you do that?
Well, the modify menu event is your answer. This one event hands your code an object that represents the entire application menu. And from there, you can do anything. You can add new items on the fly, you can hide things the user isn't supposed to see, you can even build the whole menu from scratch in your code. This is the key to a truly dynamic experience.
Let's tackle another common problem. The default audit log in Phprunner works, for sure, but it often just stores raw stuff like user IDs or foreign key numbers, which
isn't exactly easy for a human to read. So how can we make our logs more useful?
This is where the onAudit log event is just incredible. I mean, just look at the before and after here. Before the event fires, your log entry might just say user 101. Kind of useless, right? But inside the event, you can write a tiny bit of code to look up that user's name, and suddenly your log entry becomes John Smith updated the record. That turns a boring data trail into an actual story.
So what this really means is you have total authority over your audit trail. You can change any value before it gets saved to the database. And hey, if there's some action you just don't care about logging, you can tell the event to just skip it entirely. It's the ultimate tool for creating clean, meaningful logs.
So there you have it. We've talked about the app's heartbeat, we've covered the gatekeeper and reactor pattern for handling your users, and we've seen how to get advanced control over the UI and your data. The Global Events Toolkit really does give you the hooks to build almost anything you can dream up. So the only question left is, what awesome custom feature are you going to build first?